Alright, so then we have something called best strategy and minimax criterion of optimality. This has been asked in your paper for 5 marks. Okay, so what is the minimum meaning of minimax criterion? First of all, the minimax criterion is a decision rule where it is used in two-person zero-sum games to determine the best strategy. Okay, now each player tries to minimize their maximum possible loss. Minimize their maximum possible loss, assuming that the opponent will always act against them. मतलब जितना पॉसिबल जितना बड़ा से बड़ा लॉस हो सकता है मेरा, मैं उसको कम करूंगी जितना मैं उसको कम कर सकती हूँ. ठीक है. So what is the logic behind this? The logic behind this is that it follows a cautious or a conservative approach. A player expects the opponent to choose the most harmful response. Okay, the expectation ये रहेगा कि वो सबसे harmful towards themselves. ठीक है, मतलब जो उनको सबसे बड़ा loss दे सकता है एक वैसा वाला response. So they pick the strategy that gives the best result even among the worst outcomes. मतलब वो एक्सपेक्ट करेगा कि वो सबसे वर्स्ट वाला पॉसिबल आउटकम उठाता है एंड उसके बावजूद मैं क्या करूँगी, दे विल पिक दैट स्ट्रेटजी. ओके, सो दिस हेल्प्स अवॉइड रिस्की डिसीजंस. नाउ फॉर द रो प्लेयर. Okay, for the row player क्या करेगा? Row player will use maximum approach. So for the row player, uh, the approach is known as maximum strategy. The row player will identify the minimum payoff in each row. That is the worst outcome per row. Then chooses the row with the maximum of these minimum values. ठीक है, पहले minimum payoff in each row निकालेगा, फिर वो जो values निकली उसमें से maximum value निकालेगा. ठीक है. This guarantees highest safe payoff even if the opponent tries to reduce his gains. ठीक है. Now what will the column player do? The column player will use a minimax strategy. The column player will look at the maximum payoff in each column. हर column में वो maximum payoff दिखेगा. ठीक है, एंड देन वो मैक्सिमम वैल्यूज में से लोएस्ट वैल्यूज निकालेगा, द लोएस्ट ऑफ दीज वैल्यूज निकालेगा. सो इट मिनिमाइजेस द लार्जेस्ट पॉसिबल लॉस. Okay, and then we have the concept of optimal strategy. A strategy satisfying the minimax rule is optimal. Okay, why? Only if it protects because not why. I will say कि वो कोई condition follow नहीं करना होता. It has to be optimal because it protects the player from the worst case situation. ठीक है, क्योंकि वो worst case situation से बचा रहा है player को. We spoke about that, and the opponent cannot make the player worse off without also hurting themselves. ठीक है. This leads to stability and decision making. What happens when there's no saddle point? If maximum value is equal to minimax value, a saddle point exists. Optimal strategies are pure strategies for both the players. Okay, now this value becomes the value of the game. अगर maximum value is equal to minimax value, then a saddle point exists, and वो value जो है वो उसको एक term दिया जाता है value of the game. ठीक है. And जो optimal strategies होंगी in this game, that will be pure strategies for both players. Under the scenario where a saddle point does not exist, that is when pure strategy का rules break हो जाता है and players will have to resort to mixed strategies. Then we have rational decision making. इसमें क्या करता है? This role assumes that the players are rational, that they understand the opponent's motives, and they choose strategies carefully under conflict and also uncertainty. Okay, now they are useful for very competitive environments. Then we have an example. Okay, अब पे ऑफ मैट्रिक्स है हमारे पास में. अब हम इसमें से रो मिनिमा निकालेंगे. दैट इज रो प्लेयर क्या करता है? व्हाट डू वी हैव रो वैल्यूज ओवर हियर? पहला रो वैल्यू है 1,1,2. 1,2 कैसे निकला? हमने यहाँ से निकाले. ठीक है, यहाँ से. ऑलराइट, तो बेसिकली यहाँ से हमने पहले लोएस्ट वैल्यूज निकाली. ठीक है, A1 एंड A2 थी. A2, A1 and A2 were our players. तो हम लोग ने यहाँ से minimum values निकाली. Minimum value over here is 1, minimum value over here is 2. And then हम यहाँ से 1,2 gather होने पे यहाँ से हम maximum values निकालेंगे. That when we will get maximum value of 2. अब हम column player का देखेंगे. Column maxima 3,4, मतलब maximum values निकालनी है. यहाँ पे maximum values क्या है? 3. इधर पे maximum values क्या है? 4. तो अब इसमें से हम लोग 3,4 जमा हो गया. अब इसमें से हम मिनिमम वैल्यू निकालेंगे, दैट विल बी 3. Okay, they are equal? No, they are not equal. So no saddle point exists under the scenario. जहाँ पे they would have been equal, we would have had saddle points. So player will use mixed strategy to reach a minimax equilibrium. Okay, player A's best strategy ensures that at least a payoff of two regardless of B's action. ठीक है, तो जो रो प्लेयर है, सॉरी प्लेयर ए है, द बेस्ट स्ट्रैटेजी उसको क्या करेगा, एक ऐसा एक वो लीस्ट पे ऑफ ऑफ टू देगा, given whatever the player B's action will be. Now why is this important? Now this is important because the minimax approach is widely used. क्योंकि why? Because it ensures stable and defensible strategies. It helps in risk-averse decision making. Okay, that is away from risk. Okay, it helps in it is applied. मतलब application will be that it is applied in economics, negotiations, and military planning and AI. For example, chess algorithms. Okay, so that is what best strategy and minimax criterion was.